Oh, I'm late, you guys. I don't even know if you can hear me because the music is so loud. I'm late, you guys. It doesn't look like there's anybody in here yet, which is fine because I'm going to be on, but I am going to let me know when you come in the room if you can hear me. Adjust the microphone position. Let me know when you come into the room if you can hear me. Like I said, I'm going to stop the camera really quickly. I had so many things to do before I did this. I typically don't like, outside of the Ready to Love panel, I typically don't like to try and rush and do like first reactions right after some things come on. But as you know, on Friday, we had the Love is Blind season 10 finale. And then tonight, Sunday, we had the reunion. So I didn't want to do two different lives and I didn't want to wait for forever. So I wanted to get it done tonight. So initially I moved it back till 9:30, but then when I'm still, watching it and doing other things with my kids, and I said, let me move it back to 9:45. Oh, but I wasn't ready at 9:45 either. And I do see that Sharonda and Tate are on. So yeah, it might just be me because I don't even know if Shayna watched it because usually she comes through, but she may not because she didn't see it. So, in addition to all that's going on, let me see how I want to do this. I forgot to make my slides. I was rushing, trying to make sure I was ready. And then the next thing you know, I was like, oh my God, I didn't make my slides. So I didn't want to be any later. So I said I would start the live. And, as a YouTube live first, well, it's not a first because I think Bondi sometimes does not a whole bunch of slides, but does slides while she's on camera. So we gonna try it. We can talk about, like I said, I think it's just me in here. This gonna be fun to watch on the replay. Ooh, child, okay? You're gonna be like, what is she doing? Let's see how well I can multitask. So I did promise you guys some Love is Blind gossip when I got on here. And of course, I usually do these far quicker, but because I'm rushing, it's like not going how I want it to go. Boom, 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 boom. So I did promise you guys some Love is Blind gossip. Now, the girl that I watch on TikTok that I was talking about before, and I couldn't remember her name, she is Storytime with Ricky. So if you guys are interested in checking her out, please do. I'll repost some of her things on my page if you want to do it that way. You go to my TikTok page. If not, like I said, it's Storytime with Ricky. And she's done a couple recently saying that Uche sabotaged Miriam's relationship with Connor. That's right. Miriam was dating Connor. I guess in the experiment after her and Uche didn't work out. So hey Shayna, you are here. I didn't know if you were gonna come in because I'm like, I don't even know if she watched it. And I was just explaining to the people that I forgot to make I was running late and I forgot to make the slides. I'm off camera trying to make the slides while I'm on here. Yeah, it's the struggle is real. So I was just giving, this doesn't look so great. It'll probably look good once I'm finally done. I was just giving a little Love is Blind gossip before I got started. And we were talking about the girl that I was watching on TikTok. Her name is Storytime with Ricky. So if you're interested, you can go to her page. You can go to my TikTok and it's reposted. You can go to her from there. It doesn't matter. But just check her out. She is always doing like the latest gossip on all kind of reality shows. I do. I didn't think you did because I was on your live and I was like, I don't think she watched it, but we're We gonna see. I'm trying to. Ooh, the paper is making notes. I just want to put everybody in the right order. Um, they don't even have no pictures of the men. It's gonna be weird when you guys see my pictures, but it's whatever because we can talk about some of these looks, child. Okay, I don't know if that looks good, but we're gonna make it work. So she was saying that Uche, I'm just repeating myself because you just got on. It was just me in here talking. Um, that story time where Ricky had said that Uche sabotaged Miriam's relationship with Connor, and we did see him in the pod saying that he was she was his number one pick. So we did see him saying that. Um, yeah, but I think what had happened was Uche told Connor that Miriam was looking for a sugar daddy. Uche was hating from the sidelines. That's why he did not, he's been running all over the blogs, shouting from the rooftops to anybody that will listen, but he, didn't show up to the reunion, which, spoiler alert, but that's what we're here for is spoilers. Now this thing don't want to cooperate. He did not show up for the reunion. So also, we found out that Miriam's skincare line is called Zach and Lucy. And she basically says that production had chopped and screwed up those scenes to make her look like that. And I was like, I kind of got her at first, but then I'm like, well, then why would Uche say what he had said? But I don't know. That's what she said happens. They chopped and screwed her lines. Um, she has a TikTok, which I think she just started. She only has like two posts, I think. So one, she I think is explaining that, and then I reposted which one of them. I can't remember which one. And then the other one, she was explaining that. Oh, she was just breaking down her degrees. She was like, "I am educated. Do not get it twisted. You're not gonna make me look stupid." And I was like, okay. And she was also on, well, Jessie Wu just put up her interview with Miriam today, so I did get a chance to watch that. You can go over there and watch it. It's the same thing. She's breaking down her skincare line. She's talking about how they chopped and screwed. She's talking about the relationship with Connor and Uche hating from the sideline, which we were all fully aware of at some point because he had problems with everybody. Um, and also Aaliyah, you know what? I'm going to put up. Let me come back on. Or come on, I don't think I've been on the camera yet. Hey. And I'll put on one of the old slides for now, just so, because this is taking a little bit longer than I thought. But while I'm working on it. So she did an interview with Cameron of Lauren and Cameron. And I kind of listened to half of it and then I checked out because, like, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm like, I like Aaliyah, but I didn't really care. I may go back and finish it. I just had so many other things to do that I was like, just like, she ain't saying nothing that's earth shattering or that I felt that I hadn't heard before or that just didn't make common sense. So I kind of turned it off halfway through, but I may go back and watch and see what she says just to support. We do know that she's in another relationship, so I am happy for that, and I hope that it's a healthy relationship and that it works out well because you know how it could be. Yeah, and Jesse was kind of like getting hyped and then apologizing because she said like me that it was a bleaching thing that she had going on, so she had to apologize for that. And I don't know, maybe she was just so hyped to have her because I did see her, asking people on, was it Instagram or was it her YouTube, to like, oh, I'm trying to get a interview with Miriam, so if you guys could like reach out to her or whatever, child. So I just want to make sure I got all these people, Johnny and Chris. Please don't let me forget nobody. It was boring. I do have to agree. So I think that was all of the gossip. Nope. That's not even what I meant to do. See? Speeding messed up. Add another. I think that was all of the gossip. This season did not really give what's supposed to be gave. I really wish hindsight is 2020 that I had jumped on and covered last season because last season was so much more going on. But you know, I stuck it out to the end. So, like I said, I gave myself a pat on the back. Anybody that comes to on the replay, Shayna, I know you were there, but you could check out my Saturday sip from last night. I'm almost done, you guys. I hate I really don't like to not be prepared. I really don't. Well, I was like, oh, look at my face and everything. And I ran the room. I was like, oh my God, I didn't do the slide. So yeah, it was. Yeah. And then I was like, I can't sit anymore and not be on camera and push this thing back. So I was like, let me just get on and do the slides on here. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I think I'm up to the last one for the reunion, which was because Uche wasn't there, but Taylor was there, Aaliyah was there, JP was there, Chris was there, Johnny was there. So we will get into that in a minute. I just want to make sure. So this one should be Stacy. We can talk these fashions if you guys want. And they didn't even have no pictures of the guys. That's how much they really care at the end of the day. Listen, child, I hope this is everything. So we can get into it. We can start with episode 10. Thank you, Shayna. I can't believe that I did that. I was like, wait, something's missing. And I knew when I scheduled it so close. And then I was doing something with my son, and dinner. I did get before you started your live. Dinner was ready, so we had ate dinner before I went on to watch you, and I was doing some other things. But yeah, as it were, I was like, I forgot to make the slides. Yeah. All right, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So let's take this one down. And wait, how do I take it out all together? Remove from the studio. I'm giving you guys behind the scenes. These other YouTubers get on here and it's just so effortless and everything is so easy and everything is so put together. Like some behind things that are going on because it is what it is. And sometimes life be life and we just have to go with it. And I'm really, I didn't light my candle. I meant to because last night I had my lavender candle going. I had my little smoke before I came on. I don't want to drink tonight because I got to go to work tomorrow. So I just got some water. That's this one. I think my light is in here. I am going to light my candle. I won't worry about nothing else. But yeah, I'm just trying to relax my nerves. I don't even be wanting to go back to work tomorrow, y'all. So you having one day. Listen, don't say that because you could do it. It's not that hard. Although let me not say that because I only know how I edit on one particular app and I want to learn how to do it on like iMovie or something else, or I want to learn other things. I only know how to do it one way. But right, let's add that. Yikes. And my kid is out there being loud. Yeah. Look, now I gotta get my brain together. Like I said, Tate and Payer Weight is doing a live too, and I saw it. I was like, I am not about to change the date of this thing. We just gonna do it anyway. I'll have to listen to that or watch that tomorrow at work because I do want to hear what they have to say. And, they probably got everybody over there. Why? That's so loud. Yeah, they got 700 people over there watching, baby. But we're going to talk about episode 10 of Love is Blind, season 5. Wow, 15 minutes. That's crazy. Season 5, I mean, honestly, it really wasn't much of nothing. The episode was called Big Big Love, and it was essentially the wedding episode. So we started off on wedding day with Stacy and Izzy, and they gave us flashbacks of their time in the pod, and then just the experiment as a whole. So we got their time in in the pods and the Mexico trip and the different transitions to getting to here. So now they're getting ready, and Stacy's telling us her thoughts, and Izzy's telling us her thoughts. And I think it was him that was saying that he did not think that the credit score was a big deal. And he says, he's a rock and he's been calm. And I'm like, Izzy, with all the crying you've been doing, you gonna say you a rock? Okay. And that's what you've been telling Stacy, and she's falling for it. But the camera seen you crying. He was crying in the closet, man. I said the bathroom, he was crying in the closet, Izzy. So look, and now they made the slides and then put the daggone slides up. Moving parts, y'all. I tell you, like I said, nope, we ain't even on there. Everybody else, see, and they're not even. It is what it is. I'm not about to fix it. Everybody else makes it seem so effortless. And maybe after a while, because this is the first couple of months of me doing lives. So maybe by next year it'll just be a breeze, and I have to figure out like how to tighten this camera because the camera be wiggling and wobbling sometimes. Anyway, child, Izzy says that Love has no credit score, and I was like, hit you with the blink blink. I said, okay. So he says that he's been stressed because the last I guess we basically saw is where they got into that. It wasn't even an argument, it was just a conversation about, like Johnny said, that man's credit wasn't good, but he says that he still loves her. So we go on over to her, and she's stressed again because of the day before, and she's wondering, can she trust him? So I said to myself, self, they are dragging us, and they were. So her mom is talking to her, and I was laughing because look, I'm gonna get my red flag out because anytime we talk about red flags, I have to get my red flag, y'all. The mom says, don't ignore red flags, because basically every woman ignores red flags, and then later you wish that you hadn't. So she says, don't ignore red flags, but also don't blow things out of proportion. Mom, come on. Hit me with one of them. Like, give me a sign. But as we can see in this episode with Izzy and Stacy's parents, as well as Milton and Lydia, I think the parents, both sets were trying to play it cool so they didn't kind of like rock the boat and really seem like they didn't want them to get married or whatever the case may be. So she basically told her that she will know what the right choice is when she gets up there and she take a look at that man, and she definitely did. So Izzy and his friends, we see them, and then I think his best friend or his best man, if kind of convinces him to write a letter, which worked out well. I said, this ain't nothing for production, because she was just like, I wish I could talk to him because he's so calm. I said, oh yep, she does think he's calm. And she's like, but if he's crying, then she's gonna be stressed out because, like I said, he be crying. So he writes the note. The friend takes it over there, and it was like a corny poem. I don't even remember what it said. It was. Did I write anything of it? No, I didn't write anything of it. I didn't write anything down over the poem because I was so aggravated that this episode was a whole hour for freaking two couples. I said, y'all gonna really drag this out to 30 minutes apiece, basically. But it just was given his different feelings in a very red fish, blue fish, one fish, two fish kind of fashion. So, that made her feel better, but hmm. So Izzy's mom is in there talking to Izzy. There was nothing notable about that conversation other than she really reminded me of one of my friends in high school. She really reminded me of her mom, and she was just so sweet. So that's the only thing I really took from it. And like I said, the parents didn't want to say, neither one of the sets of the parents wanted to say yes or no, rock the boat. So Stacy's dad, you talking to dad?" And she was like, "Listen, you're gonna have to just pull the trigger one way or another." I was laughing and she started crying. And then he kind of was like, "Listen, I'm gonna be there for you regardless." And he gave her some kind words. But I was trying to figure out who Stacy's father looked like. He looked like some actor, and I can't remember who it was. And if I do, I'm gonna go put it down in the comment section of this video when everything's over. I liked her dress. No, not so much about his suit. And he looked really nervous at the altar, as he should have. So now they kind of say, I'll call them vows, because obviously they must have wrote something for the officiant to read. So he read, like, I guess, his sentiments to her and her sentiments to him, and then the whole, is love blind kind of thing. And it's Izzy's turn. Izzy says, "I do." They ask her, and there's a pause, and we get dramatic music. And I said, "Yikes." And then she gets to, "I love yous, and there's a lot of things, and they need more time," and she just can't. So womp womp. It's a no, but they still kissing. It was kind of weird. I was like, I'm confusion. What's going on? She was kind of pulling away from him on that kiss, because I don't know if she went to kiss him at that point. I think she was kind of relieved. She kind of leaves, and he's thinking, he didn't bust. I was like, he gonna cry in the car, but ooh, I'm dropping my notes. He didn't. He kept himself together at that moment. I think he was a little loose off the goose, or maybe that was afterwards. And he, thanks the guests for coming, and he goes on out. And like I said he's gonna cry in the car. They're playing, their little instrumental music, and um he went to go talk to his mom, and his mom was like, he is her concern naturally, because it's her child. And she says she knows it hurts, and she gets into this whole anecdote about him getting his vaccinations when he was young. But this analogy was for, she would rather him hurt now than in the future, you know, have it hurt down the line, I guess, was something a little more real. She didn't, and I don't want to really blame that all on Izzy, but are we going to get into it when we talk about the reunion, because they went over this, will they, won't they, did they, don't they, are they still together, and the whole finances being an issue. And I think that, essentially what it was. Um and then they met up, and then it was kind of like they were having this conversation as if she wanted to maybe date after after the whole thing, but she had trust issues with him, and he's feels like they're moving backwards and they're in two different spots. And it looks like he wanted all or nothing. And then he gonna start going off to the camera talking about, oh, he could give her everything, and she's 33 and ain't got a man. I said, oh, not you throwing shade, not you doing the atypical on camera afterwards. But essentially, I was right about these two. He said yes, and she said no, or not now, or whatever. She said it was a no. Because what was it like? Micah's mama said in last season, anything other than a yes is a no. So we don't wrap them up in less than 10 minutes, child. Hallelujah. Because the reunion. Yikes. So we get to Milton and Lydia, and I really, really, really wanted to like Lydia, and I really don't care about the stalking thing or anything that has to do with Uche, because I really don't care about Uche. What my issue with Lydia is what she did to Aaliyah, because you knew what you knew, so you should have refrained for trying to have that excuse me, that relationship that you had with that girl. But I digress. So she's got her little get up, I said, see, I would probably again do something really, really corny with the bride gear and the bride bag and whatever. So she says it was all worth it, and that he's still the one. And again, we get the flashback to the pods, and her friends are asking, if she's concerned about the age. Um, and she says no. When she was determined to hook her claws into Milton after not Uche, Izzy had kicked her to the curb. She kind of just threw the, I don't want to call her desperate, but she kind of threw the age thing to the side. So she says it's not. I honestly don't think, even before we get to the reunion, I honestly don't think these two, I don't think they're gonna make it. I really don't. Like, hold on one second. So we get to Milton and he's in there with his, his boys, and his roommate was like, "Oh, you got a real barber." Because most of his friends, I was surprised, were white, except for his roommate Josh, who was black. Um, and I was kind of like, because we saw the barber getting him straight, but it was like he pulled a Jim Jones. Like Jim Jones, they always joke that he must be, get his. Wow. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you. The people can hear you. I'm not a mute. But that he must get fresh cornrows and then go in there and brush them. I think that's what Milton did. Milton should have set his curl situation up. Listen, I have natural hair. I know how the curl goes, and lately I've been trying to not use the brush and just kind of, do it with my hands, just because I'm going for a different look and I'm about to honestly switch this cut up a little bit. But do the curls first, because once they do that, you don't need to do nothing to your hair, Milton. But I don't either. I ain't even think we was gonna get to this far, but we got to this far. And so here we are. So, the friends they're talking it out, and we're talking about how she's emotional, but it's a positive and it's kind of a negative because he don't really like, the way she reacted with the Uche thing. So I think he doesn't want her to be emotional about some things, and I mean, I guess I can understand that, because what man wants his woman giving another man? Sorry, I was lighting my candles on my lavender. What man wants his woman to give another man that much energy? So I think in that situation, that he doesn't want her being that emotional, but he does like her being emotional because his family's not. And it's, I think it's something that he wants to kind of explore. So I said, "Oh, not him just writing his vows." I said, "That's very telling." But she says that he's the man of her dreams. And I have in my notes, I feel like she's settling. So Milton's dad, Big James, I said he was James, and then when I did the live, I called him James the first time, and then I called him Little Milton, and I meant Big James and Little James. Is asking if he has any questions, if he's ready, because he comes in and he's got the cufflinks, and I was like, "Oh, my dad and my brother wear cufflinks." So, Milton is acting like he knows everything. He doesn't have any questions, and the dad is kind of like, it's going to be the honeymoon phase for like the first 2 years. But you kind of just fight fair. And he kind of tells the dad, like, you and mom is you and mom. And Milton, take the word, because I've been in relationships. I've gone to school and taken certain things. And yes, fighting fair is honestly important in any relationship you have, whether it's a couple. I don't want to say man and woman, because how people identify, but any relationship you have, whether it's a romantic relationship or whether it's a friendship, anything that you value, you should be fighting fair. And it's something that you do have to learn. So you're not hitting the low blows, but Milton didn't want to hear any of it. Again, I think I've said it 1,000 times, because I have it in my notes 1,000 times, that the families are playing it cool. But then Milton, he does start to have a little bit of nerves, because he was like, he's wondering why the family's so, nervous, and the two of them aren't nervous. Like, do they know something we don't? Yes. Yes, I think we all do. And then he's walking to the altar like, "My heart rate is increasing 0.5 beats." I say, "Yeah, okay." So her dress again, it was cool or whatever. His pants fit, so we were happy, because Sir is 6'7", and we remember Brett, who wasn't tall, but he had the issue his pants not fitting. And I think everybody wants to look their best on their wedding day. So, I didn't really look at the bridesmaids, which is funny, because like I was the girl who used to be so into weddings and watching A Wedding Story, and I guess this season just checked out, but I guess it wasn't that important. So, like I said, you got the vows, the love is blind vows, and then Lydia gives a pause, like, she got to take a cleansing breath before she says, "I do." We weren't surprised. They ask Milton, and he pauses, and you hear like little heartbeats, and then he says, "I do," and I was like, "I do?" Question mark, exclamation point, and I said, shocked, I was wrong. Um, like I said, I was right about Stacy and Izzy, but with these two, I thought she would say yes, and he would say no. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. And like, because I felt last season we kind of got cut short on some maybe special moments with Brett and Tiffany because they were like the least dramatic. So, we didn't really get that much footage of them. They wanted to show us the drama, which, I like the drama too. But, like I would have liked to see some more of that stuff. But this season was just a chaotic mess. Like, I didn't care about anything I didn't care about the dresses. They didn't even show us the bachelor and bachelorette party, which I'm sure they had. I don't think it was just that little barbecue that they had. But they could have cut that because of Carter and Renee, and they could have cut it for that reason. So maybe that's why we didn't see a bachelor and bachelorette party. Just also we only had two weddings, so they weren't able to drag the weddings out for two episodes because they usually like to do that. So I was kind of happy about that. And I said, why are we looking at Izzy? Izzy is crying. I said Stacy made the right decision. Stacy says she made the right decision. I was laughing because somebody on TikTok said that Stacy came on the show to get a break from her renovations. And I said, perhaps you are right, because that and to get some, because she said his thing was thinging. So, maybe she ain't take it that seriously. But then they show us the people that didn't make it all the way to the end. So we saw Taylor, and she says, part of her regrets it, but her heart is saying she did the right thing. I said, girl, yes, you should regret nothing. Like, you did all that you could possibly do. He didn't really communicate like he should have. JP came on there. I didn't even care what he had to say enough to write anything down. Uche, again, he came on there, spoke his speech. I did not care. Aaliyah said, she learned to, open herself up. Child, you did. And he kind of kicked you in the face. Johnny came on there. Again, I did not care. And then Chris kind of wraps us up for the episode. He says, love is very unexpected and to follow your heart. And he's optimistic. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we get, a little glimpse of Lydia and Milton's reception and them, about to cut the cake, and, them just her acting like his mama. I said, that's just going to get him annoying. And I have in my notes, and I maintain that this show should end with engagement and not marriage. Marriage is a huge commitment, and to make a decision like this in such a short amount of time really irks my nerves, but that's the premise of the show. I have said before, and I will say it again, they should have a therapist available in the show, although these people should be vetted more properly and come to here at least somewhat healthy and healed, but they should maybe get some counseling on the show. You can figure out how to squeeze it in and cut it up. I don't really care. I guess we just get less pod footage. We shouldn't cut people out. I want to see all of the people that made it through, let all the people go on the trip. So if we have a situation like this, we don't have it. But for me, they should leave the pods kind of on a, do you want to be my boyfriend? And them accepting, going on the trip, going through the whole thing. And at the end of the show, them getting engaged instead of getting married and us having a wedding. That's just my personal thing. I don't know how they're going to do it because ain't going to be no wedding, but Um, and that was basically the end of episode 10, which was Big Big Love, which they played at the end. Now, there was also a rumor that was circulating before that Milton had a girlfriend before he came on there, but I guess she took down that post, and I don't know what happened to that because he married to Lydia. And so here we are a year and a half later showing up for this reunion. And I was grateful that we did not try and go and do another live because that was catastrophic. I did get to see it on the actual day last year that it aired, but it wasn't obviously live. They had a thing up there like, oh, pardon, whatever. It's even on my community tab. They had it on TikTok, and then some people, it was scrolling or playing live on TikTok, and some people watched it there because they couldn't watch it on their Netflix. I don't know why. I was able to watch it. By the time I watched it, I was like, y'all could have kept this. So we're at the reunion. It's been a year and a half later. We basically are starting off with these two again, Lydia and Milton. We will go to, oops, I have them backwards. Okay, so that's Lydia. This was Lydia's look, which I actually liked, except that the girls was kind of low. I was like, you couldn't, that's a huge thing I have. The, the girls. Anyway, like I said, we didn't even have no pictures of the guys because I mean they really didn't care. So these two are still married after a year and a half. I am with Shayna, and I am going to put this up again and say I don't see them making it. They've been married for a year and a half, but I just, at some point, I just feel like it's going to fall apart. There are positive things about both of them, and I like that they're both into the sciences, but I just kind of feel like if it's not the age thing, it's going to be something else because she be nagging like her, like his mama. And I'm like, if it wasn't for that, yeah, if it wasn't for them boobs, she needed like some little pasty type of things. What was the girl who had the pasties on? I think it was the ultimatum. She needed some of hers to like prop them up and stick them to the dress, so they was giving you a, just a little bit. And even the shoes was cute, but Milton says that now he has a reason to rush home from work. I said, oh, okay. His family likes Lydia. They're embracing her and she's helping his family to be more emotional. He said his mom calls more and expresses her love and her care. So I was like, oh, that is a positive. Like I said, there's a positive thing about each of them, but just it's just a feeling I have. So we find out that Milton is cleaning up after himself in terms of he's putting up his towels. He done washed a dish or two, but he says his favorite part of marriage is cleaning, i.e., that she is doing the cleaning. And she says, that is having someone to have her back. And then they show us some unseen footage of them, dates and somebody's birthday and them going to Puerto Rico where they had a second marriage. I said, y'all are really trying to sell us like this is gonna work. And I just want to be there for when it, kind of like Josh and Jacqueline. I want to be there when it falls apart. So Nick and Vanessa, because I forgot to mention that they were again hosting. I was not happy to see them. They did kind of. Part of me feels like they asked some of the questions that needed to be answered, but I feel like since we've been doing so much on social media, some of this stuff was answered before we even got here. But they gave them like, I think it was like a heart-shaped rock, and it was, I forgot, two type of things and what they represented, and I was like, oh, that's cute, because that's their thing. And Milton says something about, he's doing some financial planning, I guess. So of course, we talk about financial planning. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe till, look, let's do a little prediction now. Let's say they'll make it till after the altar, and then, maybe not make it past then. So, like I said, they bring up finances when Milton says something about financial planning. And so then that segues to, I can't believe I did these and still put them out of order. Stacy and Izzy, of course, because that was the bone of contention, was his credit. And Johnny had already told us about that. I like this dress. She's so super duper skinny. Or slim, I should say, because skinny is like fat. Nobody likes to be called skinny. My kids are slim, and I have to like choose my words carefully, especially with boys, because boys definitely don't want to be called skinny. Girls might not care. So she don't have no hips, so I got a little problem with that little piece right there. But other than that, her dress was pretty cute. What do we get into for these two? Um, She says that she wanted to give him a yes, but she didn't feel like they were ready. You weren't. Nick asked her why he waited so long for financial conversation. He says that he didn't think it would be a big deal and that he had the conversation in the pods with other people, i.e. Johnny, in my opinion, which she said the man's credit was bad, and she was right. And I said, Yeah, exactly. You did have this conversation in the pods, and that's why I know you know that it was a big deal for her, and that's why you didn't bring it up. She's asking him, "Why didn't you tell me?" He gives some BS excuse. And he basically says that everything was paid off because she's like, "We did have financial conversations in the pods, and he basically said it was no issue." So he says that, everything is paid off. He just has bad credit. Yeah, it does. I don't know, just something for me. Maybe it's the way she's standing because she got the leg going this way, and I think maybe she need to pop the leg a little bit that way so it'll make her hip look a little. But that's just a me thing. But she does look good in the dress because she's got the definitely got that body. It's giving me, what is her name? Marjorie's daughter, Marjorie Harvey. It's giving me Lori Harvey. That's what it's giving me. So Vanessa was asking if Izzy felt embarrassed, with her lifestyle and her upbringing. And he says he was, but he's working on it. He's trying to make it seem like it wasn't as big of a deal as it was. But I think he knew going into that. I think it was Tate that said she had the Christian Dior drip on in the pods. Not that he could see that, but maybe from conversations that they had, he kind of got the gist of it, and definitely once he got out into the real world. So he really didn't get into his finances. And then, we got to ask, did they date after? And Stacy, she quickly says no, but then, he stutters and she says, they took time off at first. And then I think it was like a week, they said. And then they went on a date and it was off and he could feel it. So he asked her and she's like, she wasn't feeling it. And he was shocked and he was mad after. And I said, she did say she was relieved. And I think I just mentioned that when we talked about the not reunion, the finale. She did say she was relieved, so I don't think she really wants to marry him, even though she's sitting in our face telling her that she did. Um, and she says that basically she wanted to start over, but he didn't want to go back to starting from square one. Which, okay, fine. So then they segue us into, I don't even remember how they segued us into it because everything they were like, speaking of, and now that we bring up, we got to Johnny and Chris. So these two are no longer together, which I brought that up, I think, on the last live because Chris's girlfriend was posting pictures of him on her Instagram, and people got a hold of it and they was posting it. So they're not together. So after that barbecue pod meeting situation that we saw, it was her birthday and it was her birthday weekend, but he had to go away for a wedding. And the long and the short of it is these two lost communication for a while, and he started dating somebody else who he now lives with, and she had to find out via her friends. So, yikes. So, Vanessa and Nick were grilling him about going so hard for her at the barbecue and then turning around and not breaking it off like he should have, basically cheating, going to be with this other girl. Um, yeah, she said she found out from a friend. And I got it, but I'm like, the situation was he was with her, he tried to fight for it, and so I got why he went so hard, but yeah, he definitely could have told her, but because Vanessa's like, you seem so nice. Yeah, they always do. Um, Johnny says that they both found their people and that she's had a boyfriend for a year, and then they start to get into this whole Stacy and Johnny beef. So Stacey basically says that she was friends with the other girls, and it was a whole thing because they were talking about, whether people were disclosing their pics and whatnot. But she says that she heard about Johnny talking ish to her behind her back to the other girls, which, we did hear all of that because they showed it to us on the show. Um, and then Johnny and Chris are over there talking under their breath. I don't even know if we actually ever got to hear what they were talking about. They didn't really say. It was like it was a lot of blah blah blah. Um, and Johnny does admit that her comments about Stacey were petty, which they was. Johnny felt like Izzy and Stacy were ganging up on Chris. Oh, yeah, we had to get into that. Exactly. Like Chris on Ready to Love, or hey, that's so funny. They're both Chris. Chris and Chris. Yeah, but they always do. Um, yeah, so she was there and Chris was there too, but she was there. The Chris thing we didn't really need to know about. She was there to go over the Stacy thing. I guess because they brought him to that barbecue. What else did they get into? I got it, child. I got it on the notes, but because they had two couples, that's why. Because they had two couples and one got married and one didn't. So if they just had the four of them sitting there, they were like, okay, let's bring back Johnny and Chris, and let's bring back JP and Taylor, and let's bring back Aaliyah with no doggone Uche. So Johnny felt like, let me get my words right. Johnny felt like Stacy and Izzy were ganging up on Chris when she was at the whole barbecue situation. And Stacy's trying to explain, like, I moved to get away from you in the situation, and then I went over there. Well, actually, no, she didn't say that. Well, maybe she did say it, but I hadn't, in my opinion. Yes, no, I don't think she said that. I think I just wrote that. I felt like Stacy moved to get away because that's what we saw. And then they play the tape and it confirms that she goes over there and that Chris and Izzy were talking. And then once she realized, like, she sat there for a minute because she was like, somebody told me that, you guys were over there and you were pointing your fingers. And so I came over there. And then we see, like I said, we see the footage. Stacy goes over there. She sits down. She's like, hey, what's up? And then as you know, they're talking. She's like, oh, y'all talking about Johnny. Like, I came over here to get away from her. So yeah, that is basically what happened. But like I said, it ain't much for them to talk about. So we got into that. Izzy apologizes. He says his delivery was bad. He was being an a-hole, but basically he stands on what he says. I said, okay. And Johnny says that, he apologized a year ago after it happened, I guess, off camera. Nick asked Izzy if him and Johnny reconnected. Um, and they did. A week after him and Stacy broke up, they were at some type of casting, and they talked and they realized like it just wasn't gonna work. But they stayed cordial. So Vanessa was like asking, like, oh, did you kiss? But at least, one thing that she did not talk about this whole reunion, she didn't ask nobody if they were gonna have no babies or whatever. I think that's what she was kind of alluding to when she asked Milton and Lydia, and we got to the whole financial planning of it all, but she ain't asking about no babies. They must have told her, don't your ass going in asking people about no damn babies. So they did kiss, but they didn't have no sex. Chris was also at the bar for this whole casting when the situation went on, but when they kissed in Izzy's Jeep. We don't even care, but in the streets had told Stacy, and Stacy knew about Johnny and the kiss and whatever. And she said she was surprised after what he said about Johnny, and we were, and I'm sure he said way more to you when the cameras was off, but he gave us enough on the cameras to give us pause. Why? I'm sorry for even making that much noise. I'm mad. I still have all these notes. But Nick was calling Izzy out for kissing Chris's ex, and Chris was just cool about it. He didn't really care. So after they dragged this whole thing out. So now we go back to after not speaking for a year. Izzy and Stacy did see each other when they were out. She was at her family, and so they talked and they cleared everything out, and they hung out a couple times and they're friends now. But that they also, and the two of them kissed when they saw each other at some point, because we had to ask about that. But they ran into each other. They were on a date, like at a grocery store or something weird like that, for a cooking class. And Izzy was on a date with his girl, and Stacy was on a date with her guy, and they ended up being a foursome couple for the cooking class. And now Stacy's dating somebody, but she don't really want to get into it. And Izzy's dating a girl from the cooking class. It's the long and the short of it. She don't want to ask about babies after all. Yeah, after all she got last season, she better not. But I wasn't sure when they came when we got them back if they were even, like I said, if they were even going to ask any decent questions, or if, if they were going to listen to what we said last season. And we've been saying they don't ask the questions that need to be asked. That she beats folks in the head about this baby thing to the point where Cameron and Lauren had to say something about it. Like, some people don't want babies and you're asking. Some people been trying to have babies and they can't have babies. So it's a sore subject. So yeah, she ain't bring it up. So then we move on to Lydia and Aaliyah's friendship. And at that point, Aaliyah comes out. And I didn't talk about, you know what? Ooh, I keep double clicking. We talked about these two dresses, right? Because now, let me go slow because the computer is like, ma'am. I don't know what she has on, but it was given typical Johnny, just basicness. So yeah. Next, Aaliyah's dress I liked except for this pointy part at the top. I don't know. I don't like the jagged edge of it. We just had maybe fixed that, made it straight across, scallops, bustier, something. I would have liked her dress. So she came out and they flashed back to the friendship of Lydia and Aaliyah, and the shit was cringy to say the least. Um, Lydia says it's hard and it's hurtful, and that she wanted her to have her happy ending, and that she just didn't read the room. And I think Vanessa's like, "Oh, did you feel like it was a moment for you to release?" And I was like, "Child, I guess." So Aaliyah says she came to get the Love is Blind experience, and she did not get that. They definitely robbed her. She said she set boundaries and Lydia did not respect them. We saw that a mile away. She tried to Uche's ass that he didn't want to listen. So, now, Nick basically reiterates everything that the people, for those of you that didn't read the People magazine article, and I said it in one of the lives, but he basically goes over the producers wanted to send them home. They said they wanted to stay. They had no interest in seeing each other. The producers told them don't tell anybody, and then they let them share when they had to develop real feelings for somebody. And child. So they're asking, do you think the producers made the right choice in they're asking Lydia and letting her continue? And she's like, well, I'm biased, but, she says it kind of was unfair to everyone. Vanessa's asking Aaliyah if they should have allowed them to stay. And Aaliyah says yes, but they should have been able to, I guess, reveal earlier on. And then she would have gave Lydia space and not been friends on her. But girl, that's not on you. That's on Lydia because Lydia's ass knew better. But I guess you want that protection for yourself. I think they should have gone home, but that's where Love is Blind dropped the ball. And I guarantee you, if somehow it slips through the cracks again, y'all going home. Y'all not about to stay on the show unless y'all just lie and act like y'all don't know each other. So they're asking the group about it, and everybody kind of feel like it's okay, but they kind of feel bad for Aaliyah. Aaliyah believes that Lydia came there for Uche, and so they go over her saying that she felt like she was going to run into somebody that she knew. And Aaliyah says that she and Lydia had a convo off camera. I'm not sure at what point because I didn't write it down. And I guess Lydia communicated to her that her and Uche discussed coming on the show. She wants to know, she wants her to be honest as to how they got there. So, November 2021, Lydia says that she and Uche told each other that they saw that the show was casting, but she says that she didn't know. And because she basically said she didn't know because she wouldn't have wanted him to be there. You're saying that, but they're showing us that you asked to start from square one. So if it's editing and he also said the same thing because we didn't see that, I need us give us the unseen footage, which they should have done in the reunion, but they didn't. So Milton says, it was unfortunate, but a lot of people didn't get what they wanted. Like me and Lydia were the only ones that got married, and Lydia's character is better than his. I said, Milton, you dragging it, but go up for your woman. And then he says that he and Uche were not friends, but he was obsessed with his relationship with Lydia. He didn't really want to, he kind of wanted to try to keep his cards close to the vest, and everybody else respected it except for Uche. And so he felt like that was weird. And that he gave unsolicited advice at the party. We saw it. Um, he basically says, he didn't care, is what he said at that meeting. It was like I said, Uche felt like Milton and Lydia was Milton and Lydia, and Uche and Lydia was Uche and Lydia, and he did not give no cares about it. So Aaliyah applauds him for setting boundaries with Uche. Izzy says that, oh, Milton has grown since the pods. And he basically says that he showed the people that what they wanted to see, and that he gave them good, fun time, Milton. But as he was there, Lydia could see through his bullshit. But as he was there, that Chris and Izzy and JP, got to see who he really was. And Vanessa's kind of saying, well, everything happens as it should. So Aaliyah says that she's happy now. She's in a good relationship, and that she met the boyfriend on an R&B cruise where they both came solo. See, that's how you want to meet somebody. You want to travel with your girls, got to travel solo. And then we got a whole Uche segment where we show flashbacks of his last meeting with Aaliyah and his last meeting with Lydia. It's another cringy situation. They get into Milton showing Lydia the phone, which I didn't even get when I saw it, but that they basically had a safe word, and it was like an oil barrel emoji. So he had showed her because he felt like the conversation was like just getting too far. So Aaliyah admits that she and Uche dated, and that it didn't work. And he had said, I didn't mention it. He said that the producers that they, like I said, they edited the footage, that they walked away, they held hands, that they walked away and they were dating after the show. The producers asked if they wanted to be on camera showing their relationship. They declined, and he feels like that's why they edited to give him a bad edit in terms of him like cutting her off, because all the rest of that was you. So that I'll give you that. Perhaps they did that. All of the rest, bad attitude Uche, was 110% you. So that's what he had said, that they dated. So she says, yeah. So he says because they didn't want to date on camera, that he got that edit. But she says that it didn't work, and that he was going around telling people that um she's not his normal type. He told that to castmates, and she's just still didn't like the tone that he was speaking. Uche was being Uche. She was saying that she got the same Uche that Lydia got at that barbecue. And so she just wasn't, which he kind of did give her that when he was about the cheating. And Nick said that Uche was invited, but you know, he didn't want to come up. He's asking if anybody spoke to him. Milton said he still reaches out to him, but Milton doesn't respond. Izzy said he isn't interested, and I also talked about Izzy behind his back to castmates. Uche spoke out about that, I think. I don't remember what he said. And then we find out that he texts Milton on the wedding day. He also texts Lydia the day the show aired, and Aaliyah, both, to say if there was anything after the show that they wanted to talk about, they could talk about it. Ciao. Well, this was like a little cruise, so maybe it was like a little day trip that I would be comfortable to do. I agree with you on taking trips by yourself, especially I don't know if you listen to Demetria Lucas that she does Ratchet and Respectable. She's been living across the globe. She's been in Ghana, Africa, Paris, and she's had some bad experience with a guy. And I was like, yeah, see, that's why. Traveling by myself, I don't know. We just gonna have to act like we not together, and you gonna work one side of the room, or and I'm gonna be on the other side of the room. But I don't know if I'm willing to take a trip by myself. I can go out to eat in the movies and stuff like that, or it's something that's close. But I get you, and I want to travel. You thought she's gonna let something slip with all that meat. Oh God. So child, then we get to another why are they here? Taylor and JP, because like I said, we did not have enough They wasn't gonna have an hour's worth of show with just Milton and Lydia and Stacy and Izzy. They just weren't. So we gotta revisit everything. So we get flashbacks of their whole thing from, sugar butt and sugar and all the stuff to, in the pods, them meeting, the awkwardness of that, Mexico, and then breaking it off. So Nick was like, "Oh, what was it like watching it back?" And JP says it was hard and that he should. Now he came with a blue, white with a little red pocket square in his I was there January 6th star stripes socks. Yeah. So he said it was hard and he should have done more. And he said that he was nervous with all the cameras around because I guess when they were on the trip, they were more front and center and there were a lot of people in the room. Whereas like when they were in the guys' quarters, they were kind of off to the side or in the pods or whatever. So Taylor asked about like, well, what about when the cameras weren't there? I said, "Ooh, she called you on that one." And he says, it was still weird. And she didn't want to be there. I said, see, now you was doing good and now you throwing it all back on her. And Nick says, do you think it was the cameras or, you know, Nick is asking Stacy if she believes the cameras or do you think? She says, no, it was deeper than that. It was deeper than the makeup. And he's basically like, he didn't like how she approached him, how she kept bringing up the awkwardness and how things hadn't changed. And I got that. And I think she kind of agreed. But like her trying to force him to open up wasn't helping him to open up. Yeah. Look, I don't know. Maybe when we get older, we won't care. Because look, aren't you? Maybe when you get to be a grandma, you don't really care, and you be carry a little taser, carry you a little taser or something. It's something in the future that if I'm still single in my older age that I will have to open up to taking trips by myself when my girls aren't available because I think I'm the only single friend. My three closest friends, one's here, she's married. One's in South Carolina, she's married, and my other one just got married that lives in South no the one in South Carolina, the one in North Carolina just got married again. So yeah, even my high school friends, I'm thinking, yeah, I think I'm like the only single. I think I'm the only single friend. So down the line, unless somebody's getting divorced, and I don't wish that on anybody, I may have to explore the idea of, unless I can get some single girls together, I may have to just explore the idea of going by myself. So now Stacey Taylor is basically saying that she don't think that JP liked her appearance, basically makeup or not, and he says that he thought she looked good without the makeup. He apologizes. Vanessa brings up her reaction to his looks, and she says, it was that wasn't a problem for her in Mexico. Um, were you not physically attracted? He was shocked when he saw her child. We don't care. So basically, what we also learned is that he doesn't approach women. And Stacy over there, she looked confused. She looked confused. I said, "You are like, is it incel? Is that the correct word?" That's definitely what he was giving me when he said he don't want to approach women. Like I guess he got a wingman and they run interference, but basically they haven't spoken since. So JP has been dating someone over a year. Taylor is dating, but nothing serious. She didn't really want to get into that, but she congratulates him, and I thought that was sweet. They just ended it kind of for the most part with playing a game. They're asking who would you hit on in the real world. So Taylor says Chris, Aaliyah says no one. Izzy says Stacy. Stacy says Izzy. Lydia says Milton. Milton says Chris. And Johnny says Chris. I said, oh, okay. Chris says Milton, so tall. JP says no one. So then they're asking, what does Miriam do, I think, for a living? And I said, this is so shady. And a bunch of them had, I don't know. She's a chemist. Yeah. I didn't even write down the answers for that one because I just felt that was very shady. And I'm trying to remember if there was something that she said was the reason why they edited her like that. No, I don't think so. So I don't even really know. why they gave her that edit. In the pod, I was a little, and I guess maybe that was it. And him talking to somebody behind that wall really helped him. I didn't get those vibes, but once he got out, I definitely got him because he was like, yeah, super duper quiet. They played a game on, yeah, they played a game on the ultimatum for their they played a game on the ultimatum for their reunion also. So yes, like you said, that's how you know it was underwhelming. But at least the game I think was the last 5 minutes or so of the reunion. I think they had more game time on the ultimatum. I could be wrong. So the last one was what song sums up your experience? I didn't write down everybody's. Izzy said "Hot and Cold" by Katy Perry. "My Love Don't Cost a Thing" by J Lo is what Stacy said. "Silent Night" was "Silent Night" is what Taylor said. I didn't write down JP and I didn't write down Chris E. Milton was 99 Problems. Lydia was Crazy in Love by Beyonce. Aaliyah said, "Thank you, next." I said, boom. And child, that was the end of a quite uneventful season 5. And we made an hour because your girl spent like 15 minutes going over gossip and putting together these beautiful slides for you guys. I cannot believe I did that, but I mean, it really weren't merch. It really weren't merch at all. Child, yes. So I am really unsure of what the future. I know Shayna, you said that they should just give it up. Now they might have to cancel with the lawsuit. I don't know. Although I thought I saw somebody, was it Sharonda said that I saw somebody. This was before the lawsuit though, that they were doing a casting. And I don't know if they have anything in the can because they tend to do a bunch of these like 2 of these seasons simultaneously. So yeah, there's that. I'm gonna go back and listen to Aaliyah and Cameron interview just now that I have time. I agree with Shayna that the Jesse Wu thing was. I don't know if she was trying to be so apologetic or she was just so excited, but also for me because I be running the social media streets and I be on the TikToks and everything, a lot of what she had said, because I think she said she got a boyfriend now too. And correct me if I'm wrong. I kind of was doing that and doing something else. Whilst I was so yeah, that just goes to show yeah, it was boring. I was doing that and then I realized. Remember, I kept trying to figure out what I was doing next, coming up next for my content, and I couldn't figure out if I was doing something on the 21st, which is next Saturday. I realized that I'm supposed to have on Sunday the 22nd my watch list up. So I was like, oh my God, like I have the shows picked out, but I get in there and I break down the date. I had the shows and the dates and the network, but I get in there, I break down the rating, I break down, what genre and how long it is. So some of those I had starting to put in, then I give you guys a little description, and I might say a few words, let you know whether I'm watching or not. So I realized that I really hadn't gotten a jump on that. So I was like, oh my God, let me do, multitask and do some of that whilst I was listening to this interview with Jesse Wu and Miriam. And I really just wanted to listen to it for you guys to come on here, but it really didn't give so much to the point where I didn't even take no notes. I just put it in my notes to remind you guys. So if you guys are interested, anybody that comes to on the replay, if you guys are interested in watching it, go on over to Jesse Wu's channel and watch for yourself. I watched it. I'm gonna make you watch it. You wasn't one of those. I watched so you don't. I was like, I ain't fixing to take no notes on this. She ain't saying nothing that I already know. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm wondering the same about that. That's kind of scary, those allegations of what went on. I've never heard that before. Not that that's not the truth. Maybe it never happened before and this was the first time. But then that's kind of scary. Yeah. I just want them to do better. Like, if you're gonna do these reality dating shows, you have to treat people like human beings. So now you're feeding them, and now you're not holding them to, if they break their contract, they have to pay a fine. But like I said, they should have a therapist. They should have some. Here he goes. I ain't fooling with this boy. They just need some other things because Nick and Vanessa don't really do anything. They just pop in and say their piece, and then they, every now and again, and they come back at the reunion time. So kind of, I mean, I guess that's no different from Tommy from Ready to Love, but I think they need somebody a little more hands-on. They need like a dorm mother or something, but they gotta definitely do something with this doggone show. And that's the hard thing. Like I'm watching the Love Experiment. I like that. Watching Ready to Love make a move, which Shayna MCD, my fellow panel mate, we did Ready to Love. She is covering, if you guys are interested, Ready to Love, make a move. So if you're looking for recaps for now, she is recapping it for you guys. But it's like, the first season, or even maybe Basketball Wives Orlando, that first season of reality TV is gold. And then, unless it's like a competition show, like these people just, they get on here for the wrong reasons, and it just compromises the integrity of the show. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like if you go on Love is Blind, you meet the love of your life afterwards. Like, ain't the first season we've heard that. So I'm gonna wrap it on up. We are over an hour. I know you people got things to do. It's after 11 o'clock. These kids is up and they shouldn't be. They got to go to school. So, last night, like I said, I did my Saturday sip. So if you guys, put my little, do my banners. So let's take this one down. Anybody that comes through on the replay, leave a comment, put an emoji, hashtag replay, any of that. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I did Saturday sip last night. Anybody that wasn't there, interested in the replay, go ahead and check that out. That was Saturday. Friday, I did a live book versus series with the Bell Perspective. You can go to her channel and check that out. This week coming up, I was supposed to do Changeling with the Bell Perspective again, but I think we are moving the date for that. Sunday, I will have a watch list up for you guys. I'm not sure what else I'm having for the rest of the week. I keep drawing a blank, and I'm trying to squeeze some things into. So turn your notifications on, check your community tab. I have some little words of inspiration up there. I always do every Sunday, even when I'm not doing a pajama Sunday. So that's up there. And I put the pumpkin I was talking about that me and my son did in 2019, the Batman one. So that's up there. So if you guys want to go check that out, I thank you so much, Shayna, for coming through. And anybody that may have, because I seen like the numbers was up, the number was down, but anybody who may have came in and stuck their head in, just say hello. I appreciate you. I should have took that off. Sometimes you want it, sometimes you're not on it. But thank you to, I gotta do better. Put your head out. It's so me sleep. Oh, I gotta get better with these things. I'm getting there. So I got my thing on, yes. But the nails is bad on this hand, so we don't want to do that. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one. Peace.